Hey, if you've ever felt like you're just operating on a totally different wavelength from everyone around you, yeah, this is for you. We're about to dive into a series of traits that people get wrong all the time, and you'll see that what you've maybe always thought of as a flaw, it's not. It's actually a core feature of your design. So I want you to really think about this for a second. Have you ever felt that? Not just, lonely because nobody's talking to you, but alone because the way your brain works, the way you see everything, just feels completely out of sync with everybody else? If that's hitting a nerve, then you are in exactly the right place. And I want to be super clear about something right up front. This isn't some motivational speech, some feel good pep talk. Nope. This is all grounded in psychology. We're talking about real, documented patterns that researchers have observed in people's minds they operate on a whole different level.
All right, so let's kick things off with the first couple of big misunderstandings. These two are all about your internal processing power. The very engine that drives how you think.
Now, what's so fascinating about this is that it goes way deeper than just being an introvert. You know that feeling? When you're in a crowd for too long and it literally feels like someone just pulled the plug on your battery. Well, there's a real reason for that. Neuroscientists have found that for highly complex minds, that quiet time isn't about resting, it's about working. All the noise and performance of social situations, it eats up a ton of mental bandwidth. And when you finally get away from it, your brain has the space it needs to really connect the dots and come up with its best ideas. Come on, how many times have you been told to stop overthinking it or stop overanalyzing everything? But here's the deal. What most people call overthinking is what psychologists actually call a high cognitive drive. Your brain literally can't just skim the surface. It is wired to ask the next question and then the one after that. It physically resists incomplete information. And yeah, it can be totally exhausting sometimes, but it's that exact same engine that leads to genuine, deep insight. So, that powerful internal processor leads us right into our next idea, instinctive intelligence. And here we're going to tackle two more labels that get thrown around and are almost always completely misread, being lazy and paranoid. This one is so important to get. There's a huge difference here. A lazy person avoids effort, period. But a selective person, they evaluate if the effort is even worth it. Before you commit to something, your mind is running this super fast subconscious calculation. Is the outcome here worth the cost of my energy? And if the answer is no, you don't move. That is not a weakness, it's an incredible form of intelligence that protects your most valuable resource, your focus. And this brings us to a trait that so often gets mislabeled as paranoia. Psychologists have a much better name for it: heightened interpersonal sensitivity. It's that spidey sense you get. You walk into a room and you just know who's being real and who's putting on a show. What's happening is your nervous system is picking up on thousands of tiny little cues, micro-expressions, subtle shifts in tone, and it's synthesizing it all in an instant. You're not paranoid. You're just processing a much deeper layer of social reality that most people are completely blind to. Now, I just want you to look at this number for a second. 3. Because here is the kicker. You don't need to have all 6 of these traits. Not at all. Researchers say that if just 3 or 4 of these descriptions are making you nod your head, well, you likely fit this psychological profile. So, quick gut check. How many have you recognized in yourself so far? Think about it for a second, because understanding this pattern, that's the whole key. All right, let's get to our final 2 traits. And honestly, this is where we really start to see how these misunderstood qualities are actually superpowers. Have you ever been called weird because your interests just don't really line up with what's popular? Well, you're not just being a contrarian. Your curiosity is driven from the inside, not by what's trendy or what gets you external validation. And this is actually the path to true expertise. Cognitive psychology shows that following that internal fascination, going deep on subjects that others might ignore, is exactly what builds the most complex and robust knowledge in your mind. And this might be the most powerful trait of them all. Picture it. A crisis hits, everything is on fire, and you go quiet. People might misread this as you being cold or shutting down, but it is the absolute opposite. While everyone else is reacting, you are observing. While they are speaking, you are processing. This innate ability to stay grounded in the middle of chaos is a rare form of mental strength that most people spend their entire lives trying to develop. So, this brings us to the most important point of this entire explainer. These traits, they are not bugs in your system. They are core features of your design. Let's just run it all back. Antisocial? No, you need solitude to process. Overthinking? That is your high cognitive drive. Lazy? Nope, you are highly selective. Paranoid? That's your heightened sensitivity. Weird? Your curiosity is just intrinsically driven. And cold? That is your innate emotional regulation. See the pattern?
And that is the paradox, isn't it? It's the cruel irony. The very things that have maybe made you feel isolated or misunderstood your whole life are the exact same traits that, from a psychological perspective, make you genuinely rare. And I don't mean rare just as a compliment. I mean rare in a measurable sense.
So, the crucial takeaway is this: the way your mind processes the world, more deeply, more carefully, more completely, is not a mistake that needs to be corrected. It is your fundamental design. And once you truly get that, once you really understand your own design, you can finally stop trying to fix something that was never ever broken in the first place. You can start working with your nature instead of fighting against it. So I'll just leave you with this one question. Now that you have the blueprint, now that you understand how you're built, what are you going to create? What will you build with it?